Hello, friends and beautiful people. It is Kathryn conscious creatrix, elevated consciousness coach, and 5D visionary. Today, I want to talk about Ascension Symptoms, and one in particular that maybe some of you haven't really been thinking about. So, what are Ascension Symptoms? Well, during this timeline split that's rather acute for us right now, as we are moving through a timeline split that's taking us through about September 19th, 2019, we've got some very intense energies. And we're playing with the rules of engagement of 3D, 4D, and 5D. It's like we've got one foot in one dimension and one foot in the other, and this is a confusing time. And what's happening as we are opening up to more of the higher light quotients hitting the planet with our ascension process into 5D, five-dimensional higher consciousness reality. We're experiencing the planetary shifts of Earth, literally traveling through this portal of space and time. And this is introducing more of our multidimensional being and superconscious awareness into our 3D reality and way of being. And this can sometimes be uncomfortable because the body is the physical body is integrating these higher light quotients. So our light body, our etheric body, is trying to teach our physical body how to accommodate these energies, these what can feel like the byproduct of this ascension process that we would call ascension symptoms. And it can look like or feel like any number of things, but it does affect the physical body, the mental body, the emotional body. And these can feel like flu-like symptoms. They can feel like high temperatures, sweating, aching bones and joints, inflammation in the skin, rashes, or unexplained kind of itchiness, or we just feel like we want to jump out of our skin. That's normal for a lot of people. Tension, headaches that aren't relieved with painkillers. Dizziness. There's a lot of people who report bouts of vertigo, maybe people who have never had vertigo before. Ringing in the ears is very popular for a lot of people. Heart palpitations. I know that sometimes when my body is quiet and I'm trying to go to sleep at night, it feels like my heart wants to beat right out of my chest. Maybe sometimes you can feel that as well. We feel dense energy in the body. Our bodies can feel heavy, fatigued, right? We just have no energy. And those of us who are maybe very active people feel like we have no energy. We just can't engage. We feel a heaviness in the chest and lungs. A lot of grief can settle there as we are moving away from being the old version of who we are. We can sometimes have unacknowledged grief for this loss of self. And this does happen when we are having higher light quotients hit the planet. And we'll feel this grief in the lungs and in the heart. It kind of weighs heavily. Like if you ever had your cat, if you have a cat, or a small dog sit on your chest, it's almost like that feeling. We can feel the whole body vibrate sometimes, especially at night, like I mentioned, when you're in a relaxed state and you're ready for the body to be quiet and go to sleep, but you're feeling anything but ready to go to sleep, right? And these are simply the growing pains of moving into higher dimensional awareness as we feel the planet shifting into expanded consciousness. Your body is trying to receive a massive influx, large doses of energy, high vibrating energy all at once. And it's causing the dense form of the human body to feel stretched, pushed to its limits, and often very uncomfortable. And these are just the physical things that I mentioned, really, but we can, I did mention that sometimes we can feel grief, we can feel sadness, we often feel confusion and overwhelm. This is how it affects us in the emotional body. And self-care, good nutrition, supplementation, lots of water, and eating foods that have a high water content, not just drinking water, but our bodies, as we're moving into more crystalline structure, we need more liquid. So the foods that we eat need to have a 70% or higher water content. So there's a little nutrition tip for Ascension there for you. And really supporting your energy as much as possible helps to alleviate ascension symptoms. Also, I do teach Ascension Code seeding, which allows you to alleviate and move away from having ascension symptoms. That's part of my Consciousness Mechanics program, and there's more info in the description about this. So, one of the side effects of this ascension process that we don't often think about, and we really need to, because this is affecting a lot of people and having very adverse reactions in some people and making them go into bouts of depression and pulling back from friends, from family, from society, from themselves, really. It makes us kind of fragment from ourselves. And instead of moving into higher fields of awareness and energy in 5D, we actually tend to go lower into 3D awareness when we don't recognize this particular ascension symptom. And so what is it? Loneliness. So this major timeline split between 3D and 5D that's happening right now, and as of the date of this recording, it is the 25th of August. So we're right smack dab in the middle of this major timeline split between 3D and 5D. And this is going through to about September 19th. This is where we're really having to be careful and be very considerate about the decisions and the choices that we're making, because they are either lining us up with and kind of sealing us into old timelines that we're just going to hit the repeat button on, old behaviors, belief systems, lower thought forms, patterns of behaving. We're either kind of sealing ourselves into that lower 3D timeline, or we're making better choices that are really more, we move away from being self-limiting and self-negating in our choices, and we're making more self-affirming choices for our highest and best good, and for the highest and best good of all. This is moving us into and helping us seal ourselves into a 5D timeline. And so as we're making these decisions that are keeping either our old timelines of limitation alive in 3D reality, or propelling us forward into realizing new potentials for being in 5D, there is one thing that's happening for both camps of people, without a doubt, in this pretty fierce timeline split. There's lots of processing and integrating happening for everybody. We tend to think, or overthink, I should say, during times like this. We get the mental processing going and we are on overdrive, and it's almost like we can't stop the stream of thoughts in our head. And our mental capacity takes over because it's trying to make order out of all the chaos that's happening. So this is normal. But we don't have to keep overthinking. We have to interrupt that pattern. And that overthinking can make us feel very overwhelmed. We can feel physically put upon by not only the powers of the universe at large, but everyone in our lives, the situations and the events and experiences we find ourselves involved in everyday life. And we can feel like there's nobody we can really share our true thoughts with, when we are going on, this hamster wheel of overthinking everything. And we feel like we can't really share our true thoughts with other people in our lives, even those that are closest to us, because we think that they might think we're crazy, right? So then we overthink some more. And then we isolate ourselves. And this is a huge problem. And many people are doing this. We may feel so much confusion, so much overwhelm, or even shame about what we're thinking, that we close down and we shut the rest of the world out. Again, this is a huge, huge problem. And so if we feel like our own minds, our own intelligence has turned against us, then we turn against our own nature as a human being, which is to share and relate our feelings and thoughts with others, right? To be part of this human community. And when we shut that part of ourselves down, when we isolate from other humans, we tend to substitute this loss of connection, this loss of personal connection, with some form of numbing out in an attempt to hit the kill switch on this endless carousel of perpetual thoughts, lower thought forms, lower emotions that seem to drag us further and further down the rabbit hole. This numbing out can look like anything from overeating, binging on alcohol or drugs, food, even binge watching TV. Maybe you watch a whole season of your favorite show on Netflix in one night. Be careful with this. It may seem like something you're doing that's fun, but you got to ask yourself and be really present and aware with your own feelings and thoughts. Am I doing this to numb out? Am I doing this to move myself away from something that I perceive as painful at this time and really don't want to look at? Other forms can be gossiping, spending too much time on social media platforms, overspending, staying cloistered inside your home for maybe days on end without engaging with friends and family, without calling people, without connecting, texting, whatever. So what do you do? What's the solution for this? And as always, my videos are not about just saying, hey, this is what's going on, good luck. I'd like to give real and practical solutions to the problems or the challenges that Ascension puts in front of us. So what to do? Share. Be brave enough to engage with someone that you trust, and maybe who, you can get some of what's in your head out, okay? And don't worry about seeming crazy, because I'll tell you what, chances are really good that this person you are connecting with and being brave enough to share yourself with, chances are really good that they feel like they're living in crazy town too, that they feel like they've got some thoughts that they couldn't share with other people. And then when you share and get it out in the open, you can both relax, and then you can both laugh about how you both thought you were going to lose your minds. Do a brain dump. Get what's in your head out on paper. Get your favorite pen, get your favorite notebook, and write down what's in your head. Whatever is top of mind, don't worry about how crazy it looks on the page. Again, resist the urge to self-edit because you think that's too crazy, too out there, whatever. Write it down. Then whatever looks like the craziest thing to you once you've written it down, Google it. Someone else is going through the exact same thing and wrote a blog about it or shared a vlog about it, and they have maybe the same thing going on or even worse. And then you can breathe a little deeper and relax and know that you are not alone. And that's one important thing to remember. The biggest takeaway about this whole video to remember and about loneliness as an ascension symptom is that you are never, ever alone. It's only your perception and that kind of, that veiled perception of everything else that's out there where you feel connected with the rest of the human family and the human community. That's veiled to you when you get so locked into your own inner world. It becomes this like microcosm of individualized perception, and you really have all other potentials and ways of being veiled to you. So the more you engage, share, do a brain dump, you'll realize you're not going crazy and you're not alone. The third thing is take control. Ask yourself, who is thinking these thoughts? Who is feeling these feelings? Who's running the show up here or in here? Are these thoughts controlling me, or am I controlling the thoughts? And be honest with what comes in. Because simply recognizing that you are running a program from the filter of ego can be the exact pattern interrupter that you need to start shifting into, again, aligning with a timeline of 5D awareness, moving into more heart-centered belief instead of head-centered belief and way of being. Sometimes just asking these questions, who is thinking these thoughts, who is feeling these feelings, it stops the carousel of perpetual thoughts that keep dragging you down the rabbit hole even further. And it brings the higher self back in as your locus of concentration. And the ego voice stops being the MC of your consciousness long enough for you to get some clarity about how you want to redirect your thoughts and feelings. And it's not like completely starting over. It's starting fresh with new thoughts and new beliefs. And sometimes that can happen in the space of a nanosecond. It's all about where you are aligning your vibration and your frequency. So breathe is the other thing, okay? Most important. Reset yourself intermittently throughout your day by taking some deep breaths. This is a major pattern interrupter that we forget about because we think it's just so simple, but it is one of the most powerful things that you can do to reconnect with your present, your now moment, whereas all creation takes place in the now moment. When we are in this feeling of feeling lonely, we want to siphon off our energy from the now moment, which is the most powerful moment, the only moment, the moment of pure creation. And we want to siphon off our energy by maybe thinking about something that was good in our past, or siphoning off our energy thinking about something, fantasizing about something that could be better in our future. This only and ever takes your power away. By resetting yourself simply by taking some deep breaths, this instantly brings you back into the present moment, into the creator self perspective. You stop siphoning off your energy thinking about the past or the future, and you resume creating each now moment as intended, with clarity, with authority, with self-agency and discernment. So I want to wish you all so many blessings and peace during this time, this very fierce time in this planetary shift, and timeline split between 3D and 5D. I feel you. I know exactly where you're at. And I want to wish you good luck with all these energies right now, and much love and peace. Bye-bye.